I fixed my almost complete insomnia in just a few months, and you can achieve the same in an even shorter time span. So around 2 years ago, I had almost complete insomnia. And to be quite honest with you, what I actually had to do to fix it changed my world more than I could have imagined, because it wasn't due to stress or overthinking, but it was actually because of things I wasn't even aware of. And so I now have the best sleep that I ever had in my entire life. And I'm serious with that. It's even better than when I was a child. I fixed my mom's insomnia. She had 8 years of insomnia, on average sleeping like 5 hours every single night. And I probably know how to fix your insomnia. So this is no advice that you can find on ChatGPT, by the way. And like honestly, I know the pain that you're going through right now. Like the mental issues, probably have no sex drive, absolutely no energy, no concentration. Life just feels like shit. And honestly, there's nobody that seems to be able to help you, especially when it comes to doctors. And by the way, I really advise you to never take any sleep aids, because they have huge side effects, especially in the long run. Usually just make this problem worse in the long run. Better fix this naturally. All right, so what changed my worldview so much and fixed my sleep? Let me first give you a fact. Tons of people out there are having sleeping issues. And so let me ask you something, and let's view this a little different. Imagine you would go to a house where there's only dogs in this house. So there's only dogs living in this house in different rooms. And what's special about those dogs in this house, let's say there's like 20, 30 dogs there, is that they all have sleeping issues. And so let me ask you the $1,000,000 question. What would you think about where does this problem come from? Well, it's obviously something either in this house, in their environment, maybe they all consume the same food that gives them insomnia. But let's just say like there's one very specific dog that has like severe insomnia. He just cannot sleep, not even a single minute. But you go to this doctor and then look at this dog and be like, I don't understand why this dog is having such bad sleeping issues. Like, what do we need to do? Oh, probably you would go instead like, yeah, this guy just has it like really bad, but it seems like everyone has it, so let's find the common cause. And so what medicine is doing is they look at this one dog, and it's like, wow, this is you? It's like this one dog, wow, you have such bad insomnia, there's something wrong with you. And that's just absolutely not true. Because I learned from fixing my own insomnia, it's actually not that the problem is inside of you, it's that the problem is in the environment that you're surrounded by. And yes, is there some kind of problem with you? Well, there is one thing, like you're slightly more broken than other people. Like there's things actually that your environment does to you, and like you're a little more sensitive and everything. Like yeah, that's a thing. But that's about it. Like everyone is having sleeping issues, so this is not your fault or your genetics or whatever. It's really your environment. So as soon as you focus on your environment, you will actually be seeing success. Now, what do I actually mean by our environment? Well, very simple. In today's modern world, we're surrounded by so many things that we're just evolutionary, and our biology is just not adapted to that. And so it causes tons of issues, and one of these issues is insomnia. And no, I'm not talking about all those silly things like, oh, the heavy metals or even the pesticides in the food. Like this is what a lot of people complain about, and like, they have their own issues and all that. That's cool, but that's not really what's causing your insomnia most likely. So the question is really, how can you figure out what in your environment is causing these things? Because I'm going to be quite honest with you, the things that's kind of like typical in life, the things that you should actually be aware of, like your biggest problems, you aren't even aware of your biggest problems. So technically, all I ever did to fix my insomnia was getting back to natural. And that is basically what fixed my insomnia. Now it's not as simple as like, oh, just go outside in the woods and your insomnia is going to be cured. Like, okay, I'm going to be honest, like, no. Unfortunately, it's not that easy. It takes you, and it's really important that you figure out the specifics in your environment. Because as I said before, like I could be in this environment and it could actually be a problem for me, even though, hey, it looks so natural. But that's just still not enough. And of course, there's also the thing, you probably can't spend all day in nature. And you have a job and everything, so you've got to figure out what in your job, what all those things are that actually affect you and cause insomnia. Because once you remove them, you don't necessarily have to be in nature out all day. Now let me dive into some actual tips that I'm going to give you. So basically you have to understand sleep is kind of a tricky topic in that sense, because there's not like a single organ or a single brain region that just controls sleep. It's rather a state of mind. And yeah, there are certain brain regions that are more important and less important, but in general, it's a state of mind. And when the state of mind gets disrupted, well, we get insomnia. Thing is, there are like 1,000 things that can disrupt the state of mind, and you've got to figure out the ones that actually matter in your environment. A lot of people always blame this here on excessive stress, and of course this is a factor, but for many people there's like the environment that's really causing the insomnia. And even with some of the stress that they have, they would be able to fall asleep, but because their environment is there and keeps them awake, they lie down in their bed and then they keep thinking and thinking. I mean, it's pretty normal if you cannot sleep that you start thinking, and you're also getting all these crazy creative thoughts and all that. That's like completely normal. What you need to focus on is just fixing that sleep. Like, there's nothing wrong with you. And by the way, back in my insomnia time, I would literally meditate 30 minutes every single day before going to bed. Still couldn't fall asleep. So the first really important thing that you should know about to fix your insomnia is your rhythm. Basically, our entire body runs in a rhythm. That means our cells do different things in the morning than they do in the evening, at least to some degree. Of course, our heart is still pumping blood and all that, but there's different things happening. And very simple again, if this rhythm gets shifted into the wrong direction, your body basically thinks it's a different time and therefore keeps you awake. Because imagine it's like evening, you should go to sleep, but your body, your clocks are actually set like it's noon right now. Your body is going to think like, wow, we need like high alertness, suppress melatonin. So that's something that can commonly happen. And in your case, your circadian rhythm is definitely, at least to some degree, or probably severely disrupted. It's also important to note that this can kind of chronically change sometimes, and you need to figure out how to get this back again, because there's like long-term things happening. And basically, to make this even simpler, just imagine there are like different programs during the day. Like there's the morning program, the noon program, and the evening program. And the program that you need in the evening is the evening program. And in many cases, like in yours, that's actually not properly being activated. And the question is why? Well, you should realize that your circadian rhythm is not primarily controlled by you, but by your environment. So that's where we are getting back to it. And basically the big thing in our environment, there are several things, but the really big thing in our environment that controls this rhythm is light. So the light that you're surrounded by actually controls, to some degree, at least your sleep and your entire rhythm. So this is actually kind of crazy, because you can change someone's circadian rhythm just with light. For example, if I were to take a blue LED and shine it into your eye, then I could completely change your entire rhythm. I could change almost everything inside of your biology, and you wouldn't even notice most of it. The only thing that you might notice is, if I were to do that in the evening, you'd probably notice that you're now really awake. But that's about it. Thing is, there's so much more happening inside of your body. And you're probably just thinking about, like right now, okay, blue light, I have heard that before. But it's not just about this, yeah, we block some blue light in the evening. All artificial light is a problem. And what light do you think are we really adapted to? Is it this LED monitor that you're using that's on the market for like 20 years now, and like those LEDs that we're using since like 100 years? Or some of those incandescent bulbs? Is that the thing that our biology is adapted to when we're on this planet for like at least 300,000 years? Well, no. The light that we are really adapted to is the first light that was actually present on this earth, which is actually sunlight that I'm having right now. So basically sunlight, you have to understand that every time it's daylight outside, so there's like light outside, that's always sunlight. People always misconfuse that by thinking it has to be direct sunlight. That's sunlight obviously too, but you could have a cloudy day and that's still sunlight. And that's, by the way, completely different from the light that you are having indoors. There's so many different things, can't even get into all of them because, like, you know, it's just way too much. And so basically all those things that you're using, the monitor that you're looking at right now, when you're looking at me, it has like all those LEDs, and all those things like your smartphone, your TV, your monitor, your lighting, artificial light in general, are all circadian disruptors, meaning they're all part of the problem why you're having fucking insomnia. And I mean, how long are you using these devices a day? And by the way, we sense this light with our eyes and also with our skin. We have so-called photoreceptors, and they send the signal into our internal world and basically give signals to change the clocks everywhere. That's fundamentally how it happens, and that is why light from the outside is so powerful. So our body just doesn't run on like autopilot and does everything that's just good for us, but we are also being controlled by our environment, for example, by our light. Now this might all seem kind of like cryptic, new and weird, but you have to realize that was actually one of the things that helped me fix my insomnia completely. So what do you actually have to do? The first step is that you eliminate as much artificial light from your life as possible. And the first thing to do is block all blue light, especially in the evening. And by the way, you can check out my free blue blocking course in the video description. There's like everything in there from the products that you should use, how you should basically configure them, and kind of like how and when you should use them. The only kind of downside is that your monitor colors are gonna look slightly different. But even that, I talk about all of that in the free course, so just go and check that out after this video. And you need to get strict with that and use exactly those things that I'm actually telling you there. And once you apply those things, you will see massive changes in being super, super tired all of a sudden, because you're no longer suppressing that much melatonin. And if you want to do it even better, then you replace some of your indoor hours with outdoor hours, because the sunlight is completely different from the light indoors, and it basically gives you the correct rhythm and like sets your clocks better. And so that's probably going to help you further with your sleep. Now, light is still only part of the story. It's probably one of the key factors in your insomnia getting fixed, but there's even more. And actually, I'm hosting a free masterclass soon where I share another really big factor that I once paid 600 euros for a 30-minute consultation for. You don't know this factor, and I can literally not share it here on YouTube. And yes, before we even talk about that, yes, I do sell something at the end there, but you don't have to buy that. Alternatively, you can also reach out to me directly and basically skip some of that, and I can tell you what none of these sleeping experts out there can, because I fixed my insomnia. Anyways, that's going to be it for this video. Hope this was valuable to you, and see you in the next one.